Apex trailing drawdown. I'm going to share some secrets, something that you can do to defeat the dreaded trailing drawdown. Let's talk about it. How does it work? So basically, let's say I get long, and we'll say I got a 150K account. I've got $4,500 worth of drawdown. I get long right here. We're long. All right, well, the market moves down here. That's fine. As long as it's going against me, my trailing drawdown is not moving. But let's say we're short. I'm short here from the 680s. That's maybe a better way to look at it. I'm short from the 680s. Right now, we're down to the 740s. And as this is moving down, my trailing drawdown, the $4,500 drawdown, is now following my profit. So if I'm up $1,000 and then all of a sudden this reverses, my trailing drawdown has moved, right? Remember, my trailing drawdown, I was up $1,000, but now the market's moving against me and it's moving back up. So, well, $1,000 less of drawdown at this point. Basically, it's unrealized. If I'm in a trade and the market is moving in my favor, the drawdown is following that profit. It's following the profit as I go. If I get stopped out, let's say, okay, I got stopped out right there. Well, instead of just, maybe breaking even, whatever it is, my drawdown has now moved $1,000. So I only have $3,500 worth of drawdown at this point because it moved in my favor $1,000 and the drawdown also moved with the profit. I was up $1,000 unrealized. My trailing drawdown has now moved $1,000 in that direction. Just because I didn't take profit basically means that I only have $3,500 worth of drawdown. The secret to this is, let's say I'm short the 680s, and what do I want to do? I want to make sure that I'm locking in this profit. So, okay, I'm short from 680s. We're moving down. I'm moving this stop. I'm moving my stop with the price action because, again, remember, the trailing drawdown is moving with the P&L. So right now, okay, I get stopped out, but at least I made sure that my drawdown is not going to, again, move down, be up $1,000 or however you look at it. And then just, again, it reverses. And then I would only have $2,000 worth of drawdown at that point. Even though, maybe I'm up on the day, maybe I'm up $500, my trailing drawdown is moving with that profit. Again, if I enter a trade and the trade goes $2,000 in my favor, I'm up $2,000 on the trade. How awesome, right? Well, again, the trailing drawdown has now moved up $2,000. Oh God, well, what do I do? How do I combat this? Well, I need to make sure, number one, that I'm locking in profit. As you're building up your Apex account, there is nothing wrong with taking small profits because, again, the trailing drawdown is forcing you to take profit because if you don't take profit, let's say, okay, I'm long here from the 80s. My stop is below this candle. Market's moving up. And let's say I want to get a push through the 90s. What I want to do is I want to move my stop as we break through the 90s, just to make sure that I guarantee that worst come to worst, I lock in 10 points, again, to manage my trailing drawdown. So as this is pushing up 690s, I'm going to then move my stop. I'm going to move my stop right there to the 690s. Okay, look at it. I move it up there. Okay, I got stopped out, but I guaranteed that I locked in the 10 points and my trailing drawdown is staying the same. Whereas if this pushes up and then it pulls back and stops me out for a break even or it stops me out for a loss, well, again, my trailing drawdown, you get the point. The trailing drawdown is following your unrealized P&L. So let's say I get in here long, it goes up 50 points and then it pulls back, stops me out at break even. Well, I might blow the account because the trailing drawdown followed my P&L. I was up $4,000 on the trade. And then all of a sudden I'm out for, break even, $100. Well, now I've only got $400 worth of drawdown left. So I want to make sure that I'm avoiding, number one, not taking profit. Number two, allowing my profit to come back into the red. And I'm kind of like forcing myself to take profit. I know it's weird to say oh, Patrick, why don't you let the trade run? Let it get more room. Well, you could. But again, if this pulls back from here and I didn't take the 10 points and it pulls back to my stop, well, I'm probably going to blow up the account because the trailing drawdown. So I just want to be very proactive in moving my stop with the price. And I'll show you exactly how I do that in a trade right here. So to show you how this is going to work, what I want to do is I want to try to buy this little bit of a pullback here. I'm going to put an order there at the 55s, trying to pull back here into this 50 level, maybe a little lower actually. And then I'm going to show you how I want to trail this once we get filled. So we're looking to get in here at the 53s, getting filled there. Now I got my stop here below 21. And as we push up here, I want to now just move my stop up with the price, right? Okay, there we go. So I moved my stop up. Oh, actually, that was a buy. Well, that was silly. Now I got 2. All right. Now I'm moving my stop up there. We're guaranteeing. All right, we're moving our stop up. Look how we're moving our stop up. We're getting that profit. We're still moving the stop up. Oh, Lord, this is beautiful. Moving my stop up. We're guaranteeing that we follow this. That way the trailing drawdown cannot catch me. So basically buy, and then just trailing that up. A little bit of an issue there for a second, but as you can see, the whole point here is I'm buying this dip, and as we push up, I want to make sure, you know, if I'm in the green, if I'm up 500 bucks, that I do not allow the price to come back into the red. So I'm buying this dip, buy, and then just moving my stop up, because remember, the trailing drawdown is following your overall P&L. Every time my account balance goes higher, that trailing drawdown is then what? Going higher. So I want to basically, you know, put my stop, it was just like kind of a joke here, I kind of move my stop here as this is kind of playing out, and using my stop as a way to manage my trailing drawdown and give you guys kind of that example of how it works when I'm trading with these Apex accounts with the trailing drawdown. Now, obviously, once you get above the buffer, there is no more trailing drawdown. The trailing drawdown then goes to the 0 mark on the account. But again, how do I trade with the trailing drawdown? How can you trade until you get above that buffer? And that's pretty much what I'm looking to do. I'm looking to, you know, buy those dips so that way I'm not really like experiencing much red. And then I'm moving my target with the price as it goes. Because now, you know, I locked in, basically bang, bang, I locked in here. So my trailing drawdown stays the same. I still got the same amount of trailing drawdown because I locked in that profit. And you can see, even though it's going higher, the whole point is locking in profit. And that's what the whole goal of the trailing drawdown is, to make sure you're locking in that profit as it goes. Because I don't want this to go straight up and then pull back and stop me out in the red, because now my trailing drawdown is going to be that much less, if that makes sense. All right, so now that you saw the live trade where we had a little bit of a glitch there, I put my buy order instead of a stop limit order there, which is, it happens sometimes. The moral of the story here is, if you want to be funded, if you want to make money, if you want to beat the trailing drawdown, you want to get above the buffer, when you first start out trading with Apex, take Profit Trader, whichever account you're trading with that has trailing drawdown, the best thing to do is just take those small hits. Take the 10 points, take the 20 points, get in, get out, wait for the next setup. The more that I can trade with the idea that, like, hey, I've only got $4,500 worth of drawdown, and if I go up $1,000, now I've only got $3,500 worth of drawdown. If I'm up $4,000 in the account, well, my drawdown is going to be right at 0 basically. So I can't go back into the red. I need to get above that buffer. Once I get my account above the buffer, above the $2,000 for like the 50K account, above the $4,000 for the 150K account, once I get it above the buffer, there is no longer any trailing drawdown. My overall account daily limit, or my trailing drawdown, basically stops $100 in the green at that point. So if I've got $155,000 in profit, or if I got a $5,000 profit in a 150K account, my total drawdown on that account would be basically $100 over 150. So now I've got the total drawdown being 5,000, 4,900, however you want to do the math. The moral of the story, my friends, is very simple. Take profit, lock it in. Don't let trades go up 20, 30, 40 points without taking profit. Just take the profit. There's nothing wrong with moving, trailing your stop, getting those base hits, building up your buffer, getting above the trailing drawdown buffer. You know, then you could trade maybe a little bit bigger. Then you can put on more size. But when you first start out, the best thing to do is get above that buffer. Get your account to a point where you're above the trailing drawdown, and then look for some bigger trades. But again, nothing wrong with locking in profit as you go. If I'm up 20, 30 points on a trade, the last thing that I want to do is let that trade pull back and stop me out for break even. I'm just giving back. It's like free money, right? Like I just gave back all that money, and it's like, it hurts. And trust me, I've done it plenty of times. But for people out there, if you're trading in a trailing drawdown account, you just can't do that. until you get above the buffer. And even then, like, why would you want to be up 30 points and then get out for nothing? Makes no sense, right? Like, at least guarantee that you're going to lock in some profit as it goes. Like, lock in that profit. Lock in that profit. Don't be afraid to lock in profit. Beat the trailing drawdown. People always complain, about the trailing drawdown, but if you actually trade smart and you use kind of the theory of like, hey, if I'm up 30, 40 points on a trade, I don't want this to go back to zero. Like, use that theory. It'll make your life a lot easier. And well, you'll stop blowing up a lot of accounts and you might actually get a payout. Who would have thought? These small days add up a lot quicker than a lot of blow up days, if that makes sense. Like, if every time you get a big profit day and then you blow up and then you got to start over on the eval again, and then you got to get back to like getting to the point where you can get a payout, all the fuck up days, all the days where you got greedy are just going to add on, right? It's going to make it that much harder to get a payout because now I got to start back in an eval. I got to get funded again. I got to get it activated and all that. Trying to manage that drawdown, trying to manage the overall account with that idea that, hey, a $150K account is only a $4,500 account, really. Like, think about it like that. If I buy a $150K eval, well, I've only got $4,500 worth of drawdown. And then again, if I'm up $3,000 on a trade and I don't get out for profit and I wait for it to pull back and stop me out at zero or a break even, well, now I've only got $1,000 or $1,500 on drawdown. So I want to make sure that I never allow, a nice profitable trade to pull back and stop me out basically at break even or even in the red, because my drawdown is going to get absolutely murdered. Think about it like that. Play the drawdown. Don't play the account size. Don't play the profit target. Don't play that you want to get rich and you want to make $1 million. Think about that drawdown. Kind of manage the drawdown. If I'm up 20, 30 points, I want to lock it in because I know that if we pull back, even if I'm right about the trade, even if I'm bullish, and I think the market's going to go higher, I'm going to end up losing because the drawdown is going to get me. Be careful, my friends. Stay away from that drawdown. Lock in the profits. There it is, live from the BDH. If you guys haven't already hit that like button, subscribe button, you know what to do. Peace to the Middle East.